break stuff.
I don't want to hurt anybody.
I take some heroin right before this episode.
Just because I don't want to hurt and have to take a pill or two.
You ever shot up any heroin?
I've done nothing with heroin.
Well, I mean, you've taken some pain pills before.
I guess so.
So you've done kind of a heroin.
Yeah.
A heroin synthetic.
Yes. I've taken
like a pill.
I took Oxycontin before for, true reasons, for real reasons, not to get high.
You think, when they used to ask people, say like 75% of Americans have at least tried weed once.
Okay.
Think it's that with pain pills nowadays?
Well, yeah, right? Are you talking about for recreational purposes?
Just period, like across the board.
Yeah,
recreation, pain, whatever. Somebody has tried for some reason or not.
Tried or needed to have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it goes as far as I would say 98% of the people.
That's a lot of people.
Close to it, around it.
It's kids too.
Everybody. That's how crazy.
For Florida, for sure. Especially in Florida.
It's an epidemic, bro.
I heard this crazy statistic one time. Not statistic. It was, I don't know if it's anecdotal, but one doctor in Brevard County or Volusia County at one clinic was responsible for more prescriptions being handed out than all of the clinics in California combined.
Millions of pills?
Just, sure, take it, go, take it, go, take it, go, 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 go. He got arrested. But it's still not as regulated, right, as it should be. Or it just seems like it's too easy.
And it's getting with any product that is heavy in demand, you start to see what? Bootlegging. Mm-hmm. So now you have like an underground industry. Yeah, people have like their own like pill presses and stuff.
There's another story I heard of fentanyl and how potent it is. This house got raided and they were doing a sweep after everybody got out, like just to make sure everybody was everything was good. I don't know, whatever the post sweep is. And the officer opened up a drawer, and just the motion of the drawer opening let some like particles of fentanyl go into the air, and he went into cardiac arrest just from like particles going into his nose from 5 feet away.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally have like a granule of salt of fentanyl, and it's more than like 100 or 200 milligrams.
Yeah, because it's really strong.
It's crazy.
So you're like playing Russian roulette every time you shoot up now, especially in Florida.
You're taking a Percocet that belongs to an elephant,
right?
You know what
I mean? If I feel like if I was into this shit, all that sounds like a advertising, like a commercial. Like, this shit is strong. This shit is potent. This shit will knock you on your ass. And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get there.
I've always prided myself on being honest on this podcast. And
honest podcast. Hashtag honest podcast.
So your boy Peans is fat, obviously. First of all, welcome to the Fresh Produce Podcast.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, hello.
Shout out to all our subscribers.
Yes,
we have like a small congregation of like 100 something,
Now we're at 115.
That's a nice little congregation of people celebrating.
Yes.
Hallelujah to you guys.
Hallelujah.
So speaking on the faith, your boy Peans and his yo-yo dieting, I go up and down depending on every 5 years. I have this cycle of losing weight.
I just go down. Know what I'm saying?
You got a good metabolism.
Hey, yo.
So when initially I've suffered from my back, I have a sciatica condition.
Doctors say I need a backiotomy.
A super backiotomy, and I've definitely been prescribed a healthy dosage of pills in my life. And I will honestly say that and I've also tried a lot of drugs. I've never stuck any needles in my arm, and I'll tell my heroin story followed by this little explanation. But I will say that opioids are amazing. They are. And that's the scariest part about them, is that they really do make you feel good. Marijuana, incredible. I love the way it makes me relax, zone in. You can't OD on marijuana, so that's good. But
I'm not really a fan of how opioids make me feel.
no,
No.
you didn't feel good while you were popping the
No,
moxies?
I felt terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't take the pain away?
Yes.
But what happens is that once you've taken them for more than like a 4 or 5 days, maybe a week or two,
I don't like
your body.
it was the moment it takes the effect. I don't like the zonked outness of it. I don't like the numbness. I felt nauseous, but I wasn't hungry. And I was just sort of like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. That's when I hurt my arm.
Right.
I remember taking them then. And then when I hurt my back,
Which was my fault also.
it was, and my balance's fault as well. And later on, when I got them for wisdom teeth, I took one. And then later on, when I got it for my back, I took only when I really, really, really had to. And even then, it was just for the pain. I still didn't like how I felt. But that's me personally. So that's good for me because I don't like that feeling. But
no, I've heard my dad's similar. He suffers from his neck, and my mom also suffers from her back. And she obviously gets pills for her stuff, but he refuses to get pills. But sometimes he needs to take one for his neck. But some people like cocaine, some people like downers, right? I like downers, and it's scary. You know what I mean? Especially I remember having a backache, and I'm an audio engineer by trade. That's what I went to school for. I can't really say it's my trade, but I went to school for it. And you spend a lot of hours sitting,
hunched over,
and you could probably
I have a standing desk.
Yeah, but you sat a lot in the editing room, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these conditions start to build in your lower back. And I remember popping the pill. It actually gave me energy. I could go longer mixing. If I take too much, I definitely get the knot out and shit. But there's something about this release that I feel in my body that just everything is gone, and I just feel good, and I can zone in. I mean, when I pop my pill, I could clean the shit out of the whole house. I can go hard in the paint when it comes to love making too. Go in, probably
the paint is vaginas.
Yeah, right in there. Hopefully, not during that time of the month, because then you just really be painting shit. But if you on that pill, you can go in. So,
are we talking about sex?
A little bit of everything here. It's like a metaphor, a gumbo of analogies right now.
A gumbo of analogies.
So I would just throw that gumbo in anytime we're mixing it up.
Gumbo of analogies.
I don't even like gumbo. I like sancocho better. But anyway,
what's sancocho?
It's kind of like a Spanish gumbo. Yeah.
So because it has Spanish flavors, not New Orleans seafood flavors.
Well, I think it's not as hot or spicy, and it's onion based. The soup is mostly onion based. You throw potatoes, meat.
Sancocho,
which is like holy soup. San, right, and then cocho. Cocho's like
how you spell cocho?
Man, don't ask me to spell anything.
How I'm gonna look it up.
I mean, like CO. I'm sure if you throw Siri on or any of your Google text, just say sancocho, and then
I'll give it a shot.
But it's probably SANCOCH.
Be on the lookout for my vegan sancocho coming soon.
It's delicious. Go for it. You know what? That would probably taste really good, minus the chicken and the meat, because I don't even need a lot of meat when I eat the soup. I really enjoy the potato and but
the cocho.
Like sancocho, it gives you this warm feeling, and that's what to me makes this drug one of the scariest drugs. The opiate family, heroin, Oxycontin, morphine, anything that derives from that opiate family. Oh my God, even opium is crazy. I've tried opium too. You gotta lay on your side, smoke it.
Why do you gotta lay on your side?
I don't know. It's like I guess it started as I want to say an Asian practice. The Asians were big into opium, and they would smoke it. There would be opium dens, and everybody would be laying.
I saw that scene in Tombstone.
Yeah, and you go to a bar, right? You're sitting at the bar drinking, go to an opium den, you want to lay down and chill, relax. You know what I mean?
You just go to sleep.
Very euphoric. It kind of feels like the beginning of a mushroom, like all that body buzz and stuff, but no hallucinating and no kind of
anxiety.
Yeah, there's no anxiety. You're just totally relaxed. That's another thing I really like about opioids is you just release your anxiety. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, just trash your kidneys though,
and your liver, all over, and
probably your pancreas, spleen, and
not
shit.
to mention your threshold of pain. Like it gets numbed out while you're on the pill, but as soon as that pill leaves or the opioid leaves, the heroin leaves,
You're
you
super
feel
sensitive.
like shit. You know your stomach's gonna hurt. You're gonna feel
withdrawals.
nauseous. The withdrawals are terrible.
What's the worst withdrawal you ever had? First of all, what's the worst pill story you ever had?
Pill story. When I first started taking pills, I took my girlfriend at the time was prescribed them for her back, and she used to get prescribed the 30s. All right, so that's 30 milligrams of straight OxyContin. You know, this stuff was killing people at the time. But she had worked her tolerance of it. What starts to happen is you take like a 5 or a 10, and then that's not enough because you've been popping like 5 of those a day. So then you need to move up to the 30. You know what I mean? And I didn't jump to the 30, but I figure if this small bitch could take a fucking 30, I could fucking take a 30. I'm a big guy, right? So I took the 30 and literally thought I was going to die. My heart started rushing. I had to curl up in a ball and lay there. I was sweating profusely, and then I just got over it.
It's just too high.
I was really, really fucking high.
Just had to run its course.
It was scary. And I told myself I was never going to take a pill later. I mean, I told myself I was never going to take a pill again. But
a 30.
Yeah.
Or did you say any pills?
No, I was like, I'm done with pills, period. You know what I mean? But then
it only just begun.
Well, it did because I started popping them with her because I was working. I figured, let me just pop one and then pop two. And then me and her had a really
30s?
We were popping a lot.
2 30s?
She would pop like 4 or 5 30s. I'd probably be good with like 2 or 3 a day. And she was popping like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And she weighed like 120 pounds. It was crazy. And we lived out in Vegas, and you can get whatever you want out in Vegas. So we were and I was making a lot of money at the time. So just young, dumb, and addicted, bro. And going down really fast. And you don't notice it when
like one specific bad time.
That was a bad time.
When you were kind of curled up.
Right. Other than that, other than just passing out, driving maybe. Not getting in an accident, but like, oh shit, and then I had to pull over and take a nap. But with her, she would have crazy episodes, and we would always end up
withdrawal
fighting.
Or whatever.
Yeah, she would withdraw. Like one time, she thought a witch was possessing her, and I had to put her in a bath. She was a dramatic person, period. But the drugs just enhanced it. She not literally, but
the power of Christ compels you.
No, I just threw her in a bathtub and was like, chill out.
The power of pills compel you.
She was going crazy, bro. And, you know, I've known her before the pills and she wasn't that crazy, but the pills made her crazy. You know what I mean? And, you know, when you take a pill, it releases dopamine in your brain. And once you start overloading yourself with dopamine, you run out of dopamine. And then it's impossible for you to get that. So you're getting a little bit of a high, but you're not getting any release. So now you're high, but you feel like shit. So it's just all bad. It's only good at the beginning. And then basically you're in a point where like you're basically taking them to stay sober in a sense. Because when you don't pop the pill, you feel like shit. But you've been taking them for so long that now when you pop the pill, you don't get high. You just feel sober. So
that's pretty sad.
It's super sad. And then once it takes about a week or two to like really get off of it.
Yeah, what was your worst withdrawal?
You know, I can't really. The only thing you really get bad is like diarrhea and stomach aches, and you just feel like hot and cold. You're sweating.
So you weren't like, you were addicted in the way that I'm addicted to alcohol,
right?
Not like it's not a travesty on your life. It's just probably not the healthiest thing to be doing.
You know, my parents were drug addicts, so I always told myself that, you know, if I'm gonna dib and dabble, I'm never gonna take it to that extreme.
Dibble and dabble, yeah. I mean, it's awesome, I guess, in a way.
Well, no, I mean, it's just it's preventive measures because I know that I'm an addict. At the end of the day, it's in my genes to be an addict. You know, my grandfather was an alcoholic. My grandmother's mother was a really big gambler. That's how he made his living. They would have money, they wouldn't have money. So we have an addictive personality in my family off the bat, and it's something that was ingrained by my mom. I mean, I remember. I don't know if I told this story on this podcast, but when I was like 10, I woke up on a Sunday, and It was a Sunday, Saturday was a big party in the family or whatever. And I seen these little beers. They're little Budweiser collector beers or whatever. I thought they were kid beers. So I grabbed the beer. 10 years old Peans, right? About to pop it open. My mom appears. And I'm like, feel all warm and like, oh shit, I'm doing something bad. But she didn't make me feel like I was in trouble. She sat me down and grabbed, at the time I didn't know what anything was, but just substances, pills, powders, things that were in the house left over from the night of party. And she said, this thing does this your uncle does, this is what I do, this does this, explaining everything. And at the end of the convo was like, anytime you want to try any of this stuff, you come to me and try it because this shit'll kill you. She's like, you want to drink that beer? And I was like, nah. She's like, nah, have the beer with me. And I was like, nah. So it was never a taboo, but, living in Vegas, I would say working for Rev, there was a lot of cocaine around. There was a lot of pills around. There was a lot of partying. So I would say, and I was only like 24, 25, peer pressure definitely hit me. And I felt like I had to be social and do drugs, Never liked cocaine, but I would do it mostly with girls, mostly at parties and stuff. Heroin story. I was, I think, 18 or 19 years old. I had my first little studio inside my house. Little local rappers would come over and record in my house. It was actually across the street from this apartment over there, this townhouse. So I had a rapper named Wolf. He was like a white boy Eminem type of vibe, you know what I mean? And this guy was a heroin addict, but not if you could be a responsible heroin addict, but I would say Wolf was a responsible heroin addict because I never really seen him like strung out. He would just do it and then stop. And he always told me that was the key to not get hooked, is to learn how to turn it off. So one day I'm hanging out with him and this other dude at a house, and the whole thing was like, yo, I'm going to try heroin today.
Who was?
I was.
Okay. Because
he said, yo, I have some left or whatever if you want to try. I was like, fuck it. Why not, right? So they all shot up. And the thing about heroin addicts is that you get greedy. So these fucks cut up the shit, cook up the shit with the spoon and everything, take it, but don't leave me any. Thank God they didn't leave me any, because homie that showed up with Wolf took his shit and passed out on the sofa, and his lips turned blue. And me and Wolf were smacking the shit out of this guy, trying to wake him up. Thank God this has happened to Wolf before. Wolf ran to the kitchen, filled a salt. I think he put salt and water in the spoon and filled the needle and injected homie with the shit.
Oh, that's like an IV, right?
I don't know what the fuck he did, but he fucking instantly woke up after that. And I was like, holy shit. Thank God, because probably going to jail. There's a dead dude in this house. And also, thank God I didn't fucking shoot up, because that shit was so strong that that same shit would have happened to me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And, I've had other situations like that with certain girls, not to shoot up, but to sniff it. And I never did it. I was like, nah, heroin's too much for me. I'm good with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I know popping that 30 was probably the same thing was going on, but I just held myself. And yeah, man, those are the slippery slopes. So I can sympathize with some of these addicts some of these stories that I've been playing, and understand why it's such an epidemic, because it's so, especially when a doctor gives you a prescription.
Yeah.
Like this is a person in society that we respect and admire. Like you went to school for fucking 12 years.
Point, not your point, but they went to school for a long time. They should know. They took an oath and all this other shit. And it's like, just take this pill. Which, the pills never fix anything. Antibiotics fix stuff.
Yeah, pills temporary comfort, I guess.
That's not a fix. If anything, it's hurting you. Because it's masking you.
Well, what about when you're in surgery or something like that?
It helps you not feel pain while your body does the actual medicine healing part of it, and the food you eat. But the pills you're taking are for pain management,
right?
And symptom and whatever management. They're not, aside from certain things like HIV meds or, antibiotics or something like that, which actually like facilitate.
Right. They get you better.
These things are just numbing you.
Yeah.
And fucking up your kidneys.
Yeah.
And your liver, And masking you. There's an argument to be made that pain is a figment of your imagination. And if you can get a hold of that, you know, you can do a lot of good in this world.
Some
'Cause
people
you have
like
a lot
pain.
there's that aspect of it as well. I was watching Billions now, and the Attorney General of New York, I guess, the Paul Giamatti character is a sadomasochist. So
He likes to beat people, or he likes to get
he
beat.
likes to get beat. And it gives him sexual pleasure. So
People say that, like, I never got into tattoos, but people that get tattoos like are
get
into
addicted to the little pain of the tattoo. Yeah.
the release.
I myself am not into pain or drugs.
I don't even need a safe word during sex. Like, no,
like real,
don't bite me, don't
like
slap
real
me.
drugs, you know, like heroin. I never in my life thought, I think I'll try some heroin. Like never, ever. Not even as a kid, you know, it was never like, oh, I'm gonna do heroin. No. And I didn't have any like family that was addicted to shit. My dad was an alcoholic, like a abusive, my biological father, but you know, he was just a drunk guy. But like I never had I've had experiences with people in like K-holes and fucking, you know, ODing type shit around.
Dead OD or just
Did I tell you the story about the guy at the stoplight
I don't think so.
up by my house?
Maybe, but I don't think
This
so.
was recently.
Okay.
We're going to Sean and I are going to Publix,
Okay.
and we're pulling up at the light at Maitland and Magnolia Homes there, and there's a truck sitting there. The brake light's on, but there's nobody you can't see anybody in the front. So instead of going right, she pulls around to the left, and she's like, I think somebody's in there. I was like, I don't see anybody. But I get out, and then there's a guy like laying down in the front seat. The shifter of the truck has the revolver, like it's shaped like a revolver, like with bullets in it. So from that angle, it looked like he had a gun, and he had like maybe shot himself. So I was like looking for blood, thinking like he maybe shot himself. So I knock on the door, no answer. Knock on the window, no answer. I open up the door. I tell her to call 911, and I pick the guy up, sit him up, and he's just like, just doing that shit, right? He's got a Mike's Hard Lemonade in his hand.
This is
the
parked, right?
Tall boy.
He's
No,
just
he's
parked.
got his foot on the brake. I'm not even thinking about that at that moment. It's got a tall boy, like big 32-ounce hard lemonade. So then this old lady says, "Hey, put it in park. Set the emergency brake." So I did that. Cop pulls up. So I gently had him up, you know. Cop rips him out the car and drops him, right? But he did it in such the experienced way, because he did it in a way that his head slid from about his nutsack all the way down to his ankle and didn't like slam his head. He just it's better if he had placed him down. It was amazing. He was like, and he just went. He was slowed down. He just knew how to get him on the ground because he did it so much. The cops looking at him. He's like, "Huh, it's not breathing." And he looks at me, and I'm just like, "Nope, sure isn't," or whatever. So he's doing all this shit. Gets him the Narcan. Starts wiggling his nose around, but he isn't inhaling it because he's not breathing. So I was like, "Oh shit, this dude's dead." You know what I mean? This guy's fucking dead as shit right now. So at that point, Shauna had parked, and she made her way across, and she's walking up. She's like, you know, "What's up? What happened?" And I was like, "I think this guy's dead." And as soon as I said dead, or right around that moment, he shoots up. He just sits up like fucking fast, just like whoosh. And then it was like, you ever been woke up in the middle of the night and somebody asked you 1,000 questions? You know?
He
was just like, what? Well, not even delusional, just like confused and upset that someone's bothering him. You know, he's just sitting there and it's like, "Sir, what did you take?" What? Listen, man, what? Oh, and when he got pulled out of the car, he held on to his drink.
Did not drop
He
it.
didn't drop it.
Wow, what an OG.
Amazing. So anyway, so he ended up being, they carted him off to the ambulance and whatnot. But yeah, that happened. And then I was at a party when I was younger, and this guy was hitting on my girl. But his friend asked me not to do anything because he was in a K-hole. I didn't even know what that meant, but I guess it's ketamine. So he was all fucked up. So his hitting on her was like, could have been anybody. He was just in the corner, like licking his palms or something.
Yikes.
So no, I never was like, yo, I want to get that fucked up. I want to get so fucked up, I'm licking my palms and or passing out in the middle of the street. Nah, man. If I see the effects of something like coke, I never had to. I take that back. I once was drunk enough to think about possibly doing cocaine, but I immediately didn't. Like, I was like, yeah, but I'm in my 30s, so there's no reason to be starting to do cocaine right now. So that's dumb. So I didn't do that either. I did rub it on my gums, though.
Got a little dummy.
Yeah, I want to get my free. I was drunk. I was like, let me get my freeze on, dog. I heard something in the movie. I'm going to get my freeze on. And I did it, and I was like, that's terrible. This is stupid.
Yeah. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I've seen some weird shit. I've seen some people who do some weird shit on coke, and it's not appealing. It's not something like that gasoline shit from Russia that turns your crocodile skin. Like, why would somebody do that after seeing that? I don't understand that.
Self-destructive, man.
Nah, man. There's easier ways to destruct yourself and kill yourself.
Insecurities and not loving
You're
yourself.
wildin', bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're fucking wildin'.
Well, why do people kill themselves?
Put that shit. Is jump off a building, bro. Like, don't inject gasoline into your skin. Like, whoa.
I think all these are escapes for certain people, too.
Well, everything is an escape, though.
Yeah.
You know, television's an escape. Reading a book is an escape. Writing a poem, doing art, all of that shit's an escape from you just sitting there and being with your own thoughts, which is what you need to be doing to get yourself to where you need to be.
In general, you're absolutely right. But when it comes down to people that, you know, I would say about 80% of the stories we're going to hear is about people that got prescribed from a doctor. And then that opened Pandora's box into things, you know, motorcycle driver gets hurt, starts taking the pills, ruins his life for like 10 years. You know, just countless people that probably, if it wasn't for the doctor's role, Big Pharma's role, they probably wouldn't be addicted to opiates. You know what I mean? Because that was the portal. And that's what's really fucked up about this story. If you take it upon yourself to go out and get a street drug and that's completely your choice, then yeah, man, like you're setting yourself up for disaster. But when you
go and ask for help, and this is what you get.
What the fuck, bro? You know what I mean? And there's people making a lot of money off this shit. Kimberly, let us know the dealio.
So we can get up like the overdose rate in America.
Oh no.
My bros hope this episode finds you in a euphoric state so we can get up like the overdose rate in America. Some say taking opioids are like a blessing a breezy summer's day. They say it made Ray Charles see. It's the reason Bradley Nowell is so sublime. Future is the future because of Percocet. Oxy from Purdue Pharma sponsors hip-hop like Monster Energy drink. Well, hey, race a ticket to the Oxy Express. All aboard. From NPR. Florida is the epicenter of a prescription drug abuse epidemic. Each day in communities from Jacksonville to Fort Lauderdale, thousands of doses of powerful narcotics like oxycodone are dispensed in pain clinics, storefront operations also called pill mills. When he started at the Broward County Sheriff's Department 30 years ago, Al Lombardi says, the department was raiding crack houses and busting junkies. Nowadays, the drug dealers are working out of strip malls, he says. Lombardi heads the sheriff's office in a county that includes Fort Lauderdale. It's a city that has become a destination not just for spring breakers but also for addicts and drug traffickers. We have more pain clinics than we have McDonald's restaurants, he says.
Damn, dog.
They're taking their toll. Lombardi recently joined a dozen federal, state and local law enforcement officials at a news conference held to announce a major crackdown on Florida's pill mills. It was a series of busts, from Palm Beach to Miami, that included more than 20 arrests and the seizure of more than $22 million in cash, exotic cars, and real estate. Florida's oxycodone prescriptions. Doctors in Florida prescribe 10 times more oxycodone pills than every other state in the country combined. People come from all over the Southeast to visit the state's pain clinics.
It's fucking export,
Typically,
bro.
doctors give them a
10
quick exam and
times
then
in
a
all those
prescription
states.
for a
Fuck
powerful
fishing tourists,
painkiller.
come get your pills.
Sometimes, they even fill the prescription on the premises. Mark Truville, a special agent for the Drug Enforcement Administration, says over the past year the joint law enforcement operation has made more than 300 undercover drug buys from pain clinics and more arrests are coming. At the news conference, Truville had a warning for pill mill operators: if you're a clinic owner or a doctor or an employee knowingly working at one of these pill mills, we have probably bought dope from you. And we are probably coming to see you soon. No system for monitoring prescriptions. A major reason pill mills have proliferated in Florida is because, unlike most other states, it lacks a system for monitoring drug prescriptions. Law enforcement officials say that would help prevent doctors shopping people who travel from one clinic to another, buying hundreds of doses of prescription drugs. In fact, Florida does have a prescription drug database. After years of lobbying by law enforcement, the state legislature passed a bill last session to create one. It just didn't provide money to pay for it. A private foundation stepped in and began raising funds for the database. But recently, Governor Rick Scott has come out foursquare against it. Scott hasn't said much about why he wants to kill it. When pressed at a recent news conference, he said, "I believe it's an invasion of privacy and, it appears that the money's been wasted." An official with the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program Foundation says the governor's accusation is false and that the group has already raised enough money to start up the state database. A trip down the Oxy Express. In the past few weeks, a growing number of voices in Florida and outside the state have called on Scott to drop his opposition to the drug monitoring program. Many of Scott's critics come from states with their own oxycodone epidemics fueled by addicts and drug traffickers who make regular visits to Florida. It's a trip down Interstate 75 some now call the Oxy Express. I have friends that are ER doctors along I-75, says Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor Daniel Mungiardo, who is also a surgeon. It's a daily basis where somebody goes into an ER off I-75 with an overdose. In Florida, law enforcement authorities say the crackdown on pill mills will continue but that they can't arrest their way out of the problem. They're calling for stricter regulation of doctors and funding for the statewide drug database. Now, all they have to do is convince the governor.
10 times.
The Oxycodone Express.
The OC Express.
You know what I mean? Like, the hospital's filling up. Like, I remember there was a city in fucking West Virginia or something, and it's like...
Was it 10 times the amount of all other states combined? Every other state combined.
It goes like what
Florida's,
you were saying about that one doctor that was prescribing.
So I guess it was right,
California, bro.
Wow, the entire state.
Miss Sawyer.
ABC News was there for a drug bust today amid lavish homes and luxury cars. Florida doctors accused of writing a flood of prescriptions for powerful painkillers. Pierre Thomas is in Palm Beach County, Florida tonight.
Open the door, police!
South Florida, ground zero in the nation's war against prescription drug abuse.
Open the doors! On the ground, down the ground.
The target today, a doctor suspected of illegally prescribing thousands of powerful painkillers to patients who often have nothing wrong with
This guy looks like he was in a Narcos film. Now he's just doing pills.
Racist.
I mean, are these doctors like the new modern Narcos?
Some of them, yes, absolutely. Some of them are actually thinking probably they're prescribing things that give these people relief, and they're not looking at it as like that. But then there's people that like this that are obviously turning a profit. So
look at this guy's whips.
In this multi-million-dollar black market industry, the criminals are not street-level drug dealers, but often are doctors who live in beautiful homes like this.
In fact, Dr. Carlos Gonzalez lives in a gated community. In his driveway, a Mercedes, a Land Rover, a Bentley, and a Lamborghini. Authorities say the doctor worked at one of hundreds of so-called pain clinics that are throughout South Florida. They're also known as pill mills because people come there to get prescriptions, often no questions asked. Deaths from prescription drug overdoses are rising. 7 people each day die here in Florida, while across the country, 20,000 people a year are dying from such overdoses, according to the Centers for Disease Control. In the last decade, the number of such deaths has more than tripled.
Thousands and thousands of people come from all over the eastern seaboard to South Florida. Is you'll get people come in vans, 8 or 10 at a time.
Police say at this one alleged pill mill in Fort Lauderdale, they seized thousands in cash. So how much would a so-called pill mill like this one make per day or every couple days?
This is approximately $75,000, probably 2 to 3 days worth of business.
To stem the tide, the DEA is studying patterns of prescription drug sales in hotspots like Florida, increasingly zeroing in on supposedly legit doctors who prescribe in high volumes.
Jammies.
Today, they suspended Dr. Gonzalez's license and seized his most expensive
Lambo.
Pierre Thomas, ABC News.
Damn, got him in his jammies. Hey, bro, can I put on some shorts? Nah, we're gonna need you in the softest, most suck. Hey, man, there's some soft pants. Come here.
Ah, man, it's like...
No, she shouldn't get arrested?
No, he should. I mean, there's definitely like a thin line where you're like, okay, this is over-prescribing stuff. But is it their fault?
The cops?
No,
the doctors?
Is it the doctor's fault, or is it more of because...
Lambo.
What is this? This is...
Lambo?
So... I was going to leave this for last. But
Wait, is it their fault or whose fault?
Big Pharma.
They are greasing the laws with lobbyists.
Like Pablo Escobar was Pablo Escobar, but without the motherfuckers in the street in Miami.
With lobbyists and making laws that make it possible for people like this to operate.
Bro, it's an epidemic. This is a place in Miami. People are living.
Well, doctors are prescribing fewer pain pills for patients because of a new Florida law.
It's still illegal, or still illegal what he did.
The doctor? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, but there's also a level of like propaganda influence. Ashley works for a doctor's office, and they're constantly, they bring in, they do this thing every few months where the pill company will come in and bring in free lunch for everybody, and they'll leave off like some samples for the doctors and stuff. They even have retreats and stuff. Yeah. And
it's like any other business where they make money by you buying this pill or whatever it is. So no matter what the repercussions or consequences, they're going to push their product because they're trying to make money.
But
because
if they market it like it's not so addictive, right? Like it's okay,
of course,
give it
like
to
cigarettes.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are at fault.
Are they at fault for what?
For the epidemic. For driving like a let's
they
promote it.
They are partially at fault for
Absolutely.
sure. For sure. But we can't say that it's their fault. Because we can take it higher up the chain and make it illegal for them to do so the way they do it. So they can't falsely promote their product. They can't leave free samples. They can't whatever. We can go higher up that chain if we're talking about fault. So
well,
we're into where the governor and
that because of this epidemic, they're getting down to like Pam Bondi is suing CVS and Walgreens. You know what I mean? Like these are major corporations. Like, yeah, make your money. But when it becomes a health hazard and you guys don't have any type of like checks and balances here and you're just...
Yeah, why don't we have a program to track medication?
Well, they do now. And this is what this story is about. Because of the epidemic, they had to create a system because, like they were saying in the previous story, people used to go from doctor to doctor and just keep reing up, and there was no like, oh, wait a minute, didn't you just see doctor whatever? You were just there like 10 minutes ago. Like now they have a system like that because of the craziness. You know what I mean?
Law is designed to combat our nation's crippling opioid crisis.
But as Adam Walzer with our sister station in Tampa shows us, that law may actually be helping to fuel a black market of potentially deadly counterfeit pills.
Feeding the powder. An instructional video from China shows how easy it is to use a pill press machine.
It's a priority for the DEA.
The DEA says drug dealers use pill presses along with fentanyl bought on the dark web to make counterfeit versions of popular prescription narcotics.
So if a pill's worth $80 and you sell 10,000 pills, you've just made quite a bit of money.
Agents say a $5,000 kilogram of fentanyl can produce $10 million worth of counterfeit pills.
Shit.
This is less than $1,000.
That's insane to me that's that easily accessible.
Betty Sears and Shawnee Cottrell of Manatee County are recovering addicts. When he was using, Shawnee bought pain pills on the street.
I knew what I was getting. The FDA had approved these. They were, made by a pharmaceutical company.
Justin Hallis is the founder of High on Jesus, a nonprofit recovery group.
We could probably walk right out here and find some within 100 yards of this place.
Somebody selling pills.
It's everywhere.
Believe me, I'm looking.
Custom molds and dyes, also sold online, enable counterfeiters to make exact copies of legitimate pills.
You would have no clue until you actually did it.
It had an M on the top and a 30 on the bottom.
That's scary, bro.
Betty's friend recently overdosed on counterfeit oxycodone made from fentanyl.
Her heart was beating really fast. She was driving, and she started having hallucinations, and it's killing people. All you need is just granules of it to die.
She's right. Fentanyl is 50
like you were
times
saying
more
about how when the cop inhaled it, look at the little bit about
nothing,
fentanyl.
That is absolutely nothing.
potent than heroin. It's what
dog?
killed rock star Prince and more than 19,000 other Americans
Scary,
that
man.
same year.
'Cause you could
Betty
just,
was
you know,
nearly
you
one
just
of them.
walk through
I
the
died
door
for
and that
6
shit's just like floating there, and you go into cardiac arrest. They gotta get you with the Narcan.
6 minutes I was at the hospital, and they brought me back, thank God. And I was one of the lucky ones that made it through it.
9 people died in Pinellas County in 2016 after taking counterfeit Xanax made from fentanyl. Justin believes recent opiate prescribing restrictions aimed at curbing opiate abuse will force more people to buy drugs on the street.
And obviously they had to do something about it, so they had to make a move, but unfortunately that made this go out of control as well.
Since there's no guarantee a pill borrowed from a friend or bought on the street is real,
Borrowed from a
Betty
friend.
has this
I'll get his right
advice.
back.
Don't take a pill unless your doctor prescribes it to you.
Don't do it then either. Don't do it then either. Don't take that shit. Unless you absolutely have to. Because sometimes you have to.
Yeah, if you're
But like, just make it, make it like last. Like I said, I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I had that bottle of 15 pills for almost 3 years before I threw them away. They were just sitting there. I took one or two after the surgery, and then the rest of the time I was just like, whatever.
You just threw them away, bro.
I did, man. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. I could have given them to somebody or made a couple bucks.
So, I just wanted to show like the level of where before we get into like who to blame, the level that it's getting. Like this is a story about people living under a bridge and shit because of this.
Welcome back. The opioid crisis hits just about every economic
Why the long face, Jim?
But
Oh,
rarely
God.
will you see it as raw and open as you do on the streets of one South Florida neighborhood, where children are forced to walk around needles as they make their way to school. It is a health crisis of growing proportions.
If we let them continue, they're going to get needles that are dirty. They're going to catch their diseases from that. They're going to die, and they're going to die miserably.
Officials are calling it an open opioid den, and today the streets around it are barricaded. The area we're talking about is traveled by thousands of people every day, but it's happening where you can't see it, underneath the 836 Dolphin Expressway. The 4-block area scattered between Northwest 1st and 2nd Avenues, between 12th and 14th Streets. I went down there last weekend and was stunned by what I saw, and my colleague John Murray spent days tracking down answers. Here's her report.
When the sun goes down in Miami, more than a few are lighting up and shooting up.
Oh yeah,
836
smoking, popping,
Each one
drinking,
looking for that pleasurable escape.
Do a little
and
dance.
release, if only in
That's
their
where they filmed the
minds.
Thriller video.
I ain't never seen these many people in my life that shoot drugs back in the 60s and 70s. The drug thing wasn't nothing like this.
4 streets between Northwest 2nd Avenue and Northwest 1st Avenue have become home to drug users, transients, and the mentally ill.
At times you feel unsafe because you never know what's going to happen from, minute to the next minute.
In recent months, these blocks have emerged as an opioid den, where users are openly injecting opioids, powerful painkillers, and shamelessly having sex in broad daylight. It's gotten so bad it's become priority number one for the health department, city, county, and judges. These two teenagers, best friends, describe what it's like walking through here to and from school.
And I seen this man and this lady. She was on her knees and he was just standing there. And the funny thing about they see me and then they just continue to do it.
They're just sitting there just doing it. I feel like uncomfortable.
The streets are now the center of a public health investigation into the transmission of
fucking in the
hepatitis
street?
C and HIV. 2 weeks ago, the Florida Department of Health sent this letter to the Miami Police Department warning them that disbursement or relocation of the population will significantly impact our ability to find those individuals and complete our investigation.
So here's my question.
Fucking in the street.
If you made $13-14 billion off a drug and you're seeing that it's maybe your first intentions when you were making this drug was like, oh, I want to help people, right? But then you made all this money off this drug and you see that there's a epidemic of extreme proportions
That you may have a hand in?
You may have a hand in it. Shouldn't you help out? Shouldn't you... You know, the thing that kind of makes me...
Logically, it seems like it.
You should, right? Like, you
Seems like-
ruin these people's lives, and
Yep.
you're supposed to be this medical profession,
Yeah,
professional company.
It's never been like that, though.
You wanna give all your money to the Gutenberg, what's the name of that famous history museum in San Francisco?
Guggenheim?
The Guggenheim.
But it's not about that, yo. It's about bonuses and... You know,
but you got enough
bonuses.
money to build an art museum, but you can't help the homeless,
bonuses,
drug addicts that you help create.
Homeless people are just people who didn't try hard in life, and they need to pull themselves up from their bootstraps.
Yeah, they got enough money to buy the pills.
They can buy the pills. They can buy cigarettes. They buy, you know what I mean? This is the way people think of that stature instead of, but to your point, like, it just seems like smarter to stop that shit from happening, to keep the heat off you, you know? So if people aren't dying of it, and if they are, you trying to help people and, you know, put them in programs and whatever. But doesn't seem like it. Seems like they just want to say, oh, not our fault.
Bro, at least Pablo built some houses for the poor.
He did a lot with the community. That was in that documentary about him, where it's like, we saw the money, but we didn't really think about where the money was coming from. We just saw all the good he was doing.
And he helped people out. I mean, you know, is it the lesser of two evils? Of course, but like, this is just hypocritical and fucked up, and it's on some classist shit.
Yeah.
And when you really see the people that this affects,
it affects everybody, though. That's the thing. Now, it's not just like a poor person problem anymore. You know, Vanderbilt is a good example.
Yeah, but those people have resources to at least try to help if they want the help.
Right, but what I'm saying is a good example is the Vandertrumps, whatever. The guy,
Yeah, Vanderbilts. Yeah.
Well, she died.
Yeah.
OD'd. Same shit.
Off that goodie.
And he against medical marijuana. It's like, you wish he was smoking weed. Sad.
Dynasty that owns Purdue Pharma is a major benefactor to charity. But now, money from the Sackler family has become radioactive in the world
They
of
got the
high-profile
sacks, bro.
nonprofits and museums. Cultural institutions like the Met and Guggenheim in New York and the Tate in London have cut ties with the family. The reason? The same family that funded major museums and galleries for decades is at the center of the opioid crisis in the United States. Purdue Pharma created OxyContin, an opioid-based painkiller that many believe helped spur the opioid epidemic, killing thousands across the U.S. In a statement to CNBC, a spokesman for the family called the allegations false and unfair,
they don't even
and
speak
said the
for
family
themselves.
understood the Met's decision. Here's how Sackler money became radioactive. Purdue Pharma was founded in New York City in 1892. 60 years later, the company was bought by Raymond and Mortimer Sackler. The private company moved its headquarters to Norwalk, Connecticut in 1973, and then Stamford, Connecticut in 2000. Purdue and its network of independent associated companies currently employ about 5,000 people around the world, according to the company's website. Today, it brings in billions of dollars in revenue from drug sales. Purdue sees itself as a pioneer in developing medications for reducing pain, a principal cause of human suffering, and its roster of drugs includes oxycodone, fentanyl, and codeine.
They
One
invented
of
all
the company's
three of
best-selling
the
medications
epidemics.
is OxyContin, which hit the market in 1996. Purdue announced it would stop promoting the drug to doctors in early 2018. But previously, the drug was aggressively marketed as a safe pain medication. Turns out that's not entirely true. And that's why the Sackler family stands accused of playing a central role in the opioid epidemic. More than 47,600 Americans died from opioid overdoses in 2017, according to federal data. That's more than 130 people a day. The largest portion of that number died due to prescription opioid abuse. If you've broken a bone or had surgery, your doctor may have prescribed opioids for pain. These drugs bind to opioid receptors in the body. They block feelings of pain and trigger the release of dopamine, and include prescription pills as well as fentanyl and heroin. Dopamine makes people feel good, but the high is short-lived. Since the brain craves more, it can start a vicious cycle. Simply put, the more opioids you take, the more the brain likes it. And when your body builds a tolerance, you need higher doses or something stronger to get the same sensation. Try to stop and the body rebels. Withdrawal symptoms include aching, fever, diarrhea, vomiting, sweating, and chills. From 1991 to 2011, opioid prescriptions nearly tripled, according to IMS Health, a company that provides data to the healthcare industry. The opioid death rate tripled over the same time. Since then, efforts to tamp down on the availability of prescription opioids has led to an increase in the supply of heroin. Mexican heroin production increased from 30 metric tons in 2011 to 111 in 2017. Nearly 80% of heroin users started with opioids. Opioid addiction can occur after only 5 days of use. In the 90s, there was a realization doctors needed to be more attentive to patients' pain. Pharmaceutical companies launched a massive campaign to promote opioids as a solution. At the same time, illegal drugs, including heroin and illicit fentanyl, were pouring into the country. When patients' opioid prescriptions ran out, they looked for something stronger or cheaper. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, deaths from heroin increased nearly eightfold from 1999 to 2017. Meanwhile, deaths from man-made opioids like fentanyl increased by 21 times.
What the fuck?
In 2007, McKesson Corp shipped 3 million prescription opioid pills to what was the Save Right Pharmacy in Kermit, West Virginia. The town has 400 residents. That story was from a congressional report delivered in late 2018. The incident helped push Congress to act. One of the results was the Opioid Crisis Response Act of 2018, sponsored by Senator Lamar Alexander, a Republican from Tennessee. The bill garnered bipartisan support, even though critics said it fell short in terms of funding. According to the AMA, the bill will help fight the problem in several ways. It expands programs to prevent substance abuse and overdoses, increases treatment programs, and pledges to stop the flow of illicit drugs into the country by mail. It also increases funding for research and requires reports from Health and Human Services on opioid prescription dosages. In October 2018, President Trump signed the bill into law. Recently, states have seen another unexpected factor that's been a major benefit for addicts seeking help. Medicaid expansion in states like West Virginia. It's made treatment available where it wasn't before. A recent study from policy and research journal Health Affairs showed the number who have been diagnosed as opioid abusers under the expansion has doubled. Meanwhile, Harvard and NYU researchers found in 2017 that without Obamacare, more than 200,000 opioid addicts would lose coverage. So, what happens next? In April 2019, 60 people in 5 states were indicted, including a number of doctors and pharmacists. They were charged with the illegal prescribing of more than 32 million pain pills.
What the
Those
fuck,
involved
man?
were based in West Virginia, Ohio,
That's a lot of
Tennessee,
money.
Alabama, and Kentucky. There was even a dentist charged with unnecessarily pulling people's teeth. He gave them opioids to deal with the pain. Meanwhile, Purdue continues to fight a growing number of lawsuits in American courts. In 2007, the company pleaded guilty to federal charges of misleading doctors, regulators, and patients about OxyContin's risks. Purdue paid more than $600 million in penalties. In early 2019, the company settled with Oklahoma for $270 million. The agreement was to settle allegations the company helped spur the opioid crisis. Purdue denied any wrongdoing and announced the settlement on its website in March. The release stated, Purdue Pharma announces landmark agreement with Oklahoma to advance the treatment of addiction. Purdue also announced in March the FDA was fast-tracking its own nalmefene hydrochloride injections. The injections are for the emergency treatment of opioid overdoses. The company will not profit from HCI, according to the release. Purdue also faces lawsuits in a number of other states, including Illinois. And lawsuits have been filed against the Sacklers themselves. Attorneys general in New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Utah have all filed suit against family members. In March, more than 500 cities, counties, and Native American tribes filed suit in the Southern District of New York. Still, Purdue continues to deny any role in the crisis. A company spokesperson told CNBC the charges are baseless and inconsistent with the factual record.
I mean, you make $13 billion, you only got to pay off like $1 billion. That's $750 million, maybe. Not a bad business move.
It's a great business move. It's tremendous. You can make $13 billion, but at some point you're going to have to give back $1 million.
Oh, and we can't take your money at any of these galleries and museums anymore. Please keep your money.
No tax write-off for charity.
Fuck your philanthropy.
Okay. So, sign me up.
Man, it's just, at least, you know, it's sad, but at least
they should take like $1 billion away.
These people should
$5
be thrown
billion
in jail, maybe. What do you think? You think that they should be thrown in jail?
Yeah. At the highest levels, but that's not what's going to happen. They're going to pay fines and keep going on with their day. It's the craziest thing, man. Why? Because they're making money and they're employing people.
And you think the statement, like I was going to say, and I'll play this last.
War is killing people. You know? Sending people over there, killing people, PTSD, all that shit's killing people. They gonna stop going to war?
No,
Hell no.
They're not going to stop going to war, but
and they're not gonna stop making
this is just like
pills.
It's really, I talked to, like, my mom wants to get some medical procedures done, and I'm really thinking about going with her to Colombia to get them done, because it seems like Colombia, right? Even Cuba, right, is a communist country, and they've developed a pill that helps cure lung cancer. So arguably, these medical systems that are in third world countries are more advanced than what's going on in America because of capitalism, bureaucracy, whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
But like, our medical system is really starting to be, well, not even starting. It just is a piece of shit right now.
Well, yeah, it's a for-profit system. It's not a for medical health, human services system. You know, it's to make money.
It's our enemies, bro. Like, it's
to make money. And you got whole like campaign. Like, imagine a society where you're required to make money no matter what your business is. If you're a corporation, right? So no matter what your business is, you're required to make money. And what's more, if your business is killing people, then you're required to secure counsel that is required to fight on your behalf. So in this country, we had to sit and listen to cigarette companies try to explain why they're not wrong and they're not bad. We have to sit here and listen, let alone be killed by them. We have to be talked to like we're fucking morons. In this whole like framing of, hey, we work together with so-and-so and we got a landmark
Oklahoma.
Whatever to like help. And it's because you were forced to and fined. That's why you're doing that. Not out of the goodness of your own heart. Fucking horse shit, man. That's the worst. That's where we're at. That's how the world works. And it's not getting any better.
And it's really America that's driving this shit.
And it's really America. And it's capitalism, man. Capitalist society.
I would even kind of respect more of a Pablo Escobar coming from a poor situation, right? And of course, it's the lesser of two evils. But it, like he at least was a criminal, right? He at least or maybe Pablo Escobar's the wrong example, but like the dude that was hustling crack, on the street and built up his empire and stuff, and then it gets sentenced to jail for life sentence, sometimes 40, 50 years. And then just because these guys set up an enterprise and had some attorneys, and it's just such a hypocritical thing, man.
Money makes the world go round. And it
it's money and what's the right word for it? Because
power, influence.
And I would even say like white privilege to an extent, because
for sure.
If you set up in the right circle of stuff, you can get away with anything illegal. When these dudes on the street were selling narcotics, this would just spin differently, and it was peddled through a fucking doctor, bro.
Just frame it differently.
That's another thing that the system, like we're talking about medical system, is like these colleges, a lot of these universities, I would say, have medical schools that have hospitals, and they enlist this criteria for these doctors to go by, and this is the think tank, and this is the mentality that's going to rule the system. You can't go out of the box. Don't take marijuana for cancer. Do chemo.
Yeah,
You're
poison.
going to lose your hair. We're going to blast your body with radiology, because it was a science that a lot of people were making money, and hey, let's bring it into the medical system, and this might save you. So sad, bro. Sad, scary. There is. I can't even try to. I was, kind of thinking like, well, this is a personal problem with people that don't have self-control. They should know, even if the doctor gives you too many pills. No, I'm not supposed to take those. But
there's a certain level of that too.
Yeah, but you trust.
Yeah.
You trust. It's like, what about all those televangelists that make money?
Yeah, it still happens, man. So and so sold or donated $50 to the 700 Club.
They believe.
It's such a racket.
You believe in your doctors. This is somebody that went to school for 12 years. This is a corporation that's been around since 1892. And it's a private corporation. At least with a public like Pfizer or something like that, there's a board of directors. So it's like, okay, maybe they're fiscally responsible to the board to make money. But these motherfuckers are a private company. They ain't fiscally responsible to nobody but themselves.
Right. No, yeah. Just trying to make money, bro. And it has nothing to do with you living or dying. And it's weird. It's ironic because it's pills that, at least in theory, has to do with people living longer, but it's not happening at all. And again, that's their product is not helping you in any which way, fashion, or form. It may feel like it's helping you because it's masking the pain, but again, there's an argument to be made that pain lets you know that you're alive, and at least in certain levels of the military, you can be trained to ignore pain because it's just your brain shooting off signals saying, take your hand off that hot thing, or don't put your hand on that sharp
not to
thing.
mention, like, media-wise, I don't watch TV anymore, but whenever I'm in a situation where I'm watching TV, I feel like every 4 or 5 minutes, there's going to be a pharmaceutical commercial with, like, a list of side effects.
Side effects.
This make you die, blood pressure, you're going to sweat, you're going to feel nauseous,
anti-migraine.
Your liver's going to die out. This might affect your kidney. This might make yourself throw yourself off of
dry
a cliff.
mouth. There's like a dry mouth one that has side effects. I'm like, I'm just going to have cotton mouth. I mean, seriously. Or migraines where one of the side effects is anal leakage. It's like, what?
But
I'm gonna take a headache.
But the commercial, you see, the commercial is like fluffy pillows, clouds,
Yeah, it's the
unicorns.
weirdest commercials. They're just like bowling, or they're grilling, or they're
Life
flying
is
a kite.
great. Nobody's sad.
Some Cialis is another one, like the dick meds. It's like, oh, your dick would get hard, but you could have a heart attack or a stroke,
or call a physician if your dick's hard for more than 8 hours.
For more than 8 hours, it's like, I'm not calling you. I'm calling another girl. You know what I mean? What are we talking about? Yeah, man, it's crazy. That's another thing. It's like,
do you see that in other countries?
I don't know. I can't remember commercials in other countries. I remember commercials for like Mentos in Germany, but I don't
Straight
remember.
pills.
But again, there's not that big of a problem in other countries. Not as big of a
Well,
problem.
you know, I heard that
Apparently
vitamins, you know, in other countries you have to get prescribed vitamins. You can't just
Regular
buy them over the
multivitamins?
Yeah, you can't buy them over the counter. You're not supposed to be like, you want a supplement? Eat more carrots. You know what I mean? Drink more orange juice.
Right.
You want vitamin C. You know what I mean? We need this concentrated dose pills. Ah, man.
Maybe that's just the way to be, but we live in a place where there's the opposite of that.
America.
Since the 50s, you know, since sliced white bread with extra yeast, so it rises faster, pre-cut, so you don't got to cut it, goes from the bag to the plate. Wonder Bread. Ever since then, people have been dying and getting cancer at exponential rates. That's where we're at.
Plus, we got a pill for you.
And you know what? It's
You're gonna
okay.
catch cancer from this shit, but then we got a
Okay,
pill.
because we got a pill for you. No problem. Pill for everything. Fuck a pill, bro. Fuck a pill. Fuck a pill. Fuck a pill. Fuck a pill. Fuck a pill.
So
Fuck
you
a
weren't
pill, fuck a
vibing
pill.
to Molly Percocet when Future was like Molly Percocet.
I
Molly
was.
Percocet.
I was vibing.
It was
I love
like,
that song. It
no
sucks.
Percocet in the system.
I had to turn it off in the car. It sucked. You know, and I leave songs on that have curse words in them. I can't keep that on in the car. I literally can keep Ice Cube saying "fuck the police." I can keep that rolling in my car. Like I feel okay about it. I can keep fucking Kid Cudi out. You know, he says some wild shit. You know, and I'll keep that going. Sort of look at the kid like, yeah, it's a little curse word, but I can't keep Percocet, Molly Percocet. Really, motherfucker? That's crazy. That's crazy.
What really blew me away? Fucking Purdue, they hit him with the fentanyl. They hit him with the oxy.
All three of them.
And the codeine.
We got it all. It's killing people like a motherfucker, and we got it all.
Bro, it's literally like what Kimberly says, a Monster Energy drink.
Yeah.
Like hip hop is promoting the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like all opiates,
Gucci.
like people
Fentanyl.
Look at all the rappers who dying from codeine. and
Codeine.
shit.
Codeine's another one that's very much like glorified and made to seem not dangerous as shit.
And it's not even like, I remember in the 60s and 70s when musicians used to sing about drugs, but there was some type of like poetry to it. You know,
Mhm.
there was an artistic kind of.
Yeah. It was.
Now it's just straight
Puff the Magic Dragon.
Now it's just like Double Cup and
Or
Papa Perk.
what's the other one? There's just a ton of them.
Lucy in the Sky with glasses, right? There's a LSD.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
And now it's like, take a pill, pop a pill, fuck a bitch, and yo bitch, drink the perp, slurp, pilled up,
of love.
pilled up. You see the one where Famous Dex, I think it was, or was it Rich the Kid? I forgot who it was, but he was on his Instagram live, nodding off because of that shit. It's just rough, man.
Yeah, that one dude, the Instagram dude, Boot Game. Poor guy, man. That guy shot himself on Xanax.
By accident.
Then
accidentally did it on
little
accident.
Peep guy, he was affected by the fentanyl shit.
Fredo Santana.
From the codeine, having epilepsy. Lil Wayne.
Fucking Pimp C.
Lil Wayne needs a full-time monitor because he could just go into epileptic shock at any point. Just from the drink, bro. From that drink.
Allegedly. That wasn't confirmed. He's definitely hasn't said that's what it was.
I mean, he had a good. You got to say, without the codeine, would we get Lil Wayne mixtape Lil Wayne? Would we have mixtape Lil Wayne without codeine?
No.
Would it?
No. You wouldn't have a lot of the things we have in this world without drugs.
So true.
Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley for that. I mean, if we're counting weed as a drug.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
I mean, you're not gonna OD off
But
of it.
But recently, there's an argument definitely to be made that weed is a drug, especially with like shatter.
Oh yeah, wax
and fucking.
It's like the new crack.
Edibles, the edibles too, bro. Shit'll fuck you up real good.
But you won't die.
You won't die, but you're gonna wish you were dead, and you're gonna be promising things that you don't need to. Anytime you're in a zone where you're promising shit that you don't need to be promising, you're probably doing drugs. You're probably drunk as shit.
Yo, you're such a hypocrite to call God now.
You know what I mean? Because you're on drugs. You know, I've never in my life smoked too much weed and been like, oh God, oh my God. But I may have taken a mushroom or two and felt kind of crazy for a while. Or what was it? The thing you said, you took a 30.
I took a 30.
Your heart was exploded. That's because it's drugs.
I had to build a little fat fetus in the bed.
Curl up and pray to the Lord.
Damn, man.
Yeah, man.
Stay away from drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Your doc's like, listen, I got a prescription for you.
Now what?
Take the words of the great drug prophet Charlie Sheen, AIDS connoisseur.
He said, how'd I cure myself?
Shout out my apes and dog nigga and up your cousin in a bozo bitch.
My thing's on drugs. Holy shit, calm down. No, he said I closed my eyes and I blinked and I cured myself. Cause I'm
7 gram rocks.
Yeah,
banging out, winning.
Banging out
Tiger
7
blood.
grams. Yeah, but he said something else. Called himself something. I can't remember what it was. But shout out to Charlie Sheen. He's definitely the GOAT when it comes to this shit.
I'm by winning.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a Fresh Produce podcast. My name is Mr. Peans. This is Daddy Longneck Thompson.
He's a long neck.
And it's Fresh Produce Florida Media at Gmail. Thank you for spending your time with us, your mind, your eyes, and your ears, and all your senses.
Your face.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here today. If you have a family member or if you yourself are going through an addictive situation, reach out. There's so much help right now. It's unfortunate that we're in an age of an epidemic of crazy proportions, but with all that, there are people that want to help you. There is a lot of help out there, and if I could help you in any way, go ahead and reach out to us too, and just try to stay safe. Remember, your intuition is the best diagnosis for anything. You know, follow your intuition. If doc's giving you too much drugs, you might want to tell the doc, like, hey, bro, that's not cool, man. I guess. Or fuck it, take your drugs.
That sounds like terrible advice.
That's what I do.
Take the drugs. Just kidding. Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Pills are bad. If anything, it's because you weren't fucking sitting there watching it be made. We know now that there's counterfeit drugs coming from basements, coming from backyards, coming from fucking China. It's printed, it's stamped, made to look like it's right or like it's authentic, but it's not. You take that shit and you die. You're playing Russian roulette with your life. Your kids are sitting there seeing you do that shit. It's a cycle. Stop it. Smoke some weed.
Smoke weed every day.